everybody is coming. I'm so happy. My character is badass, but now dance to the ball.
There are names in the world of action cinema that echo louder than most. Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, and then, in 2003, a new name erupted onto the scene with the ferocity of a flying elbow, Tony Jaa. In an industry dominated by wirework and CGI trickery, here was a man who relied on pure athleticism, old-school martial arts, and gravity-defying stunts that left audiences breathless. The film Ong Bak, Muay Thai Warrior wasn't just a movie, it was a cultural event. It catapulted Tony Jaa from an unknown Thai martial artist to an international superstar almost overnight. But, as dazzling as his rise was, what followed behind the scenes was a story filled with legal entanglements, financial disasters, and personal breakdowns so dramatic it rivaled any action movie plot. And if you think you've heard everything about Tony Jaa, buckle up, because what really happened will leave you stunned. From the very moment Ong Bak hit cinemas in 2003, Tony Jaa was hailed as the savior of martial arts cinema. His breathtaking fight scenes, blistering speed, and daredevil stunts performed without wires, CGI, or camera trickery put Muay Thai on the global map like never before. Audiences around the world sat up in their seats, eyes wide, jaws dropped, witnessing a new breed of action star. Suddenly, this soft-spoken fighter from Surin, Thailand, was being compared to Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and Jet Li. In an industry increasingly reliant on special effects and wire-assisted choreography, Tony Jaa was a reminder of what real martial arts cinema used to be. Raw, visceral, and impossibly real. The buzz wasn't just local. Hollywood producers, Hong Kong action directors, and major Asian film studios saw in Jaa the future of action cinema. Big budget offers began pouring in. Roles that had been waiting for the next big martial arts sensation were now written with him in mind. Legendary directors dreamed of pairing his brutal, bone-cracking style with their stories. There was talk of global franchising, crossovers with established Hollywood action heroes, and even major brand endorsements. But while Tony's star was rising behind the scenes, a trap had already been set. The very studio that helped launch him to fame, Monkhood Film International, had secured a contract so ironclad, so restrictive, it effectively turned one of the most exciting talents in the world into their personal prisoner. It wasn't just a business arrangement, it was a cage. Under the terms of this 10-year agreement, Tony Jaa was forbidden from working with any other company, studio, or production house without Monkhood's explicit permission. And perhaps most shocking of all, the salary he received for risking his life with dangerous stunts and headlining blockbuster hits was a mere $600 a month. While audiences assumed Tony Jaa was cashing in on his newfound fame, the grim reality was far different. Every time a Hollywood director reached out, Monkhood slammed the door shut. No negotiation, no discussion, just flat rejections. And Tony, bound by a signature made in his early days of obscurity, found himself unable to escape. It was a textbook example of how the entertainment industry, behind its glamorous facade, can sometimes be a ruthless and unforgiving business. You see, in 2003, before anyone outside Thailand knew his name, Tony Jaa signed a 10-year contract with Monkhood Film International, the studio that gave him his big break. At first glance, it seemed like a normal deal for a rising actor, but hidden within the fine print were clauses that would essentially turn him into the company's property. He wasn't allowed to accept any film roles, endorsements, or collaborations without Monkhood's explicit approval. And get this, his monthly salary was just $600. Yes, you heard right. At a time when Ong Bak was raking in millions globally and transforming Muay Thai into a worldwide phenomenon, its star was earning less than an office clerk. At the start, Tony didn't protest. Monkhood had made him a star. But as his fame spread beyond Thailand, with Hollywood, China, and Hong Kong directors lining up with offers, the reality of his contract became an unbearable prison. Every request to work outside Thailand was denied. No negotiations, no discussions. The message was clear. You work for us, and only us. For a man who was being compared to Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan, it was a suffocating leash. The breaking point came in 2013. The 10-year contract was nearing its official end, and for the first time in a decade, Tony Jaa allowed himself to dream of a different future. He imagined a world where he could pick his own projects, accept invitations from Hollywood, work with legendary martial arts directors from Hong Kong, and perhaps even bring his unique brand of Muay Thai action to international franchises. After years of restrictions, financial frustrations, and missed opportunities, freedom seemed finally within reach. But just as he was preparing to turn that page, a devastating twist arrived. Out of nowhere, Monkhood Film International announced that Tony's contract had been quietly extended for another 10 years, locking him in until 2023. It was a bombshell that blindsided Tony and his team. How could this be possible? How could his signature appear on a renewal he'd never seen? The answer was as outrageous as it was heartbreaking. The company claimed they had sent the renewal notice not to Tony directly, but to his estranged sister in Surin, a rural province in northeastern Thailand. Tony and his sister had reportedly been distant for years, yet Monkhood chose her as the recipient of the most important legal document of his career. And whether through naivety, coercion, or sheer misunderstanding, she signed it. Overnight, Tony's dreams of liberation were shattered. He was told he was now legally bound for another decade to the very company that had been suffocating his career. To Tony, it wasn't just a legal setback, it was a betrayal. A betrayal by the studio he had once considered family, and a personal wound inflicted by a relative whose actions would forever alter the course of his life. The news spread like wildfire through the Thai film industry and international action movie circles. Fans, colleagues, and journalists alike were stunned. How could a world-class talent, one of the most electrifying martial artists of his generation, be trapped by a loophole so brazen and unjust? For Tony, this wasn't business as usual. It was a modern form of slavery disguised as show business. And he wasn't about to stay silent. Understandably furious, Tony called the whole thing business slavery and hired a legal team. They argued that the original contract had expired in 2013 and that the supposed renewal was invalid. A fierce legal battle erupted, and while all this was happening, international opportunities continued slipping away. Then came Fast and Furious 7. It was the role Tony had been waiting for. His Hollywood debut, a ticket to break free from his restrictive image as just a Thai action star. The Fast and Furious franchise was one of the highest-grossing film series on the planet, and Tony landing a role should have been a moment of triumph. But Monkhood wasn't about to let him go that easily. They responded by holding a press conference solely to publicly condemn him. And then they filed a jaw-dropping $49 million lawsuit against Tony, Universal Pictures, and United International Pictures. Their claim? That they had invested a fortune in making him a star and were entitled to a cut of any future international success. To rub salt in the wound, they tacked on a 7.5% interest charge. If that wasn't enough, they even managed to get a Thai court injunction blocking the release of Fast and Furious 7 in Thailand, Tony's own home country. It was a humiliating and ruthless move, but that was just the beginning of his troubles. The lawsuit jeopardized several other projects Tony was involved in. Skin Trade, his action movie with Dolph Lundgren, was thrown into chaos. SPL 2, A Time for Consequences, a major Hong Kong box office hit, was nearly derailed. A Man Will Rise, a high-profile project in development, was scrapped entirely and has remained unfinished to this day. Even Tom Yum Goong 2, the sequel to one of Tony's biggest hits, suffered at the box office, partially because Tony, in the midst of legal turmoil, refused to promote it. In an industry where timing is everything, Tony's career was effectively on hold. He spent what should have been the peak years of his stardom locked in bitter court battle. And though none of this led to actual jail time, the damage to his career was profound. By July 2015, however, an unexpected breakthrough arrived. Monkhood suddenly announced it was dropping the $50 million lawsuit. No one knows what backroom deals were made, but Tony later issued a public statement thanking all parties involved for resolving their differences amicably. The long legal war was over. He was finally free. But his troubles hadn't begun with legal battles alone. Behind the scenes, Tony Jaa's journey was a relentless roller coaster of personal, financial, and emotional crises. After the monumental success of Ong Bak, Jaa felt emboldened to direct Ong Bak 2, a passion project he hoped would cement his place not just as an action star, but as a filmmaker. The film's initial budget was set at a reasonable 100 million baht, but soon, costs spiraled out of control, production delays stretched into a second year, and the budget ballooned past 300 million baht. Tony was wearing too many hats: director, lead actor, stunt choreographer, and producer through his own company, Yara Film. It was simply too much for one man to handle. Reports emerged that Jaa was so overwhelmed that he needed time off just to figure out the climactic fight sequences. Crew members noticed the cracks forming, and then the unthinkable happened. In June 2008, in the midst of what was supposed to be the proudest chapter of his career, Tony Jaa vanished without a trace. No farewell press conferences, no tearful goodbyes, not even a cryptic social media post. One day he arrived on set, exhausted but determined, and the next, he was gone. His phone was disconnected. No one could reach him. The film's production team, already crippled by delays and ballooning costs, was thrown into immediate chaos. Within hours, rumors began to swirl like wildfire. Was Tony injured during a stunt? Had he been kidnapped by vengeful business rivals? Or worse, had the mounting pressure driven him to a breaking point? Theories ranged from the plausible to the downright bizarre. Some whispered he had fled the country under a new identity. Others speculated he had collapsed from sheer exhaustion and gone into hiding. The film industry, fans, and media outlets scrambled for answers. His mentor and lifelong friend, Pana Ritikrai, a legendary figure in Thai action cinema, was so concerned he personally led a desperate search through remote meditation caves in the Thai countryside. He believed Tony might have sought refuge in solitude, trying to find peace amidst the unbearable pressures closing in on him. Weeks passed, and the mystery deepened. Every day without news chipped away at the film's already fragile production and raised the stakes on Tony's mental and physical well-being. The golden boy of Muay Thai cinema had become a ghost, and in an industry addicted to spectacle, his sudden disappearance became the biggest drama of all. Weeks later, a Thai newspaper finally tracked him down. The truth was both simpler and more tragic. He wasn't injured. He wasn't kidnapped. He was hiding out, exhausted, and financially ruined. Tony had poured so much of his own money into the film to keep it afloat that he could no longer pay his mortgage. His electricity had been cut off. His dream project had driven him into bankruptcy. The studio eventually took control of Ong Bak 2, bringing back director Prachya Pinkayo to finish the film. To recoup the bloated budget, the company split the story into Ong Bak 2 and Ong Bak 3, a move that destroyed the narrative flow of both films. For Tony, it was a crushing creative defeat. In May 2010, after enduring financial ruin, professional humiliation, and relentless legal battle, Tony Jaa made a life-altering decision. He left the film industry and became a Buddhist monk. It wasn't a publicity stunt or a dramatic career move. In Thailand, it's a respected tradition for men to spend time in monkhood, seeking peace and reflection. And after everything Tony had endured, it made perfect sense. Of course, he didn't stay in the monastery forever. He eventually returned to acting, but his road back wasn't smooth. His old contract still limited his opportunities, and rumors about his disappearance and financial woes followed him. In the digital age, where misinformation spreads faster than the truth, it wasn't long before bizarre claims surfaced online. In recent years, an unexpected and downright bizarre rumor began circulating across social media that Tony Jaa, the beloved martial arts icon, was serving a life sentence in prison. It seemed almost too ridiculous to be taken seriously, yet in the age of viral misinformation, a few careless posts were all it took for the whispers to snowball into full-blown internet legend. The origins of this strange tale could be traced back to Tony's 2015 action thriller, SPL2A: Time for Consequences. In the film, Tony plays a stoic prison guard caught up in a web of crime and betrayal. The movie, with its gritty setting, brutal fight sequences, and emotionally charged prison storyline, left a powerful impression on audiences. But somewhere along the way, fiction blurred into fantasy. A few people either misunderstood the film's plot or twisted it for clicks and gossip. Posts claiming Tony Jaa is in prison for life began appearing in comment sections, forums, and fan pages. It didn't help that, around the same time, Tony had taken a step back from the spotlight, embracing a quieter, more personal life, and even spending time as a Buddhist monk, a respected tradition in Thailand. To outsiders unfamiliar with Thai culture, his retreat from public life only fueled speculation. Was he hiding something? Was there a scandal the media hadn't reported? Of course, a simple fact check would have cleared everything up. Tony Jaa was never arrested, never convicted, and certainly never imprisoned. But in today's digital world, where rumors spread faster than facts, the line between a movie character and a real person can vanish in an instant. But let's be clear, Tony Jaa has never been in prison. He has never been convicted of a crime. And those rumors are complete fabrications born of movie plot confusion and social media hysteria. If you glance at his IMDb page or official press reports, you'll find him actively working on new projects, with no hint of a criminal record. Today, Tony Jaa's life looks very different from those chaotic years. Since 2012, he's been happily married to his longtime partner, Piarat Chotiwatananon, and together they're raising 2 daughters. He's also remained active in the martial arts community and gradually rebuilt his film career. In 2023, Tony appeared in The Expendables 4, joining an elite cast of action icons. He also took on a lead role in Striking Rescue, a Chinese martial arts film about a Muay Thai expert on a revenge mission after his wife and daughter are murdered. It marked his powerful return as a leading man in martial arts cinema. Even more exciting is his upcoming Muay Thai-themed fantasy trilogy, a time travel saga where Tony plays Surya, a gifted young fighter transported back to ancient Thailand's Ayutthaya period. He's not just starring, but also serving as executive producer, proving his influence extends beyond the screen. Away from film sets, Tony's embraced the digital age, launching his own YouTube channel where he shares training sessions, behind-the-scenes glimpses, and personal moments with fans. It's a testament to how he's not just surviving, he's thriving. Tony Jaa's story is a powerful reminder that even legends stumble. Behind every gravity-defying stunt, bone-crushing elbow strike, and blockbuster movie is a flesh-and-blood human being fighting battles most of us will never see. It's easy to admire the on-screen hero, the man who seems fearless, invincible, and unbreakable. But it's what happens when the cameras stop rolling that truly defines a person. And for Tony, those off-screen battles were more harrowing than any fight scene he ever choreographed. His journey stands as undeniable proof that the fiercest fights don't happen on screen. They happen in sterile boardrooms, in courtrooms where dreams are dissected by legal contract, and in the quiet, solitary moments when self-doubt creeps in. They happen when trusted allies turn into adversaries, and when one bad signature can shackle a career for years. For Tony Jaa, his most dangerous opponents weren't stuntmen or villains. They were betrayal, exhaustion, heartbreak, and the relentless grind of an industry that too often chews up its brightest stars. Yet, perhaps what makes Tony's story so profoundly inspiring isn't just his fall, but his resilience. Few would blame him for walking away forever. Few would judge him for fading quietly into obscurity. But Tony chose to fight a different kind of battle. The battle to reclaim his peace, his freedom, and his name. He didn't just survive, he rebuilt. Slowly, carefully, on his own terms. His journey is a reminder to every dreamer, fighter, and underdog. Even when the world writes you off, there's always a way back. And sometimes, the comeback is even greater than the rise.